Welcome back to the LCS. We're going to have C9 Dig coming up in a moment, but we just saw FlyQuest versus EG, an incredibly important matchup with a lot of playoff implications, and we have to start with the draft. I mean, Inspired said in the interview, like, oh, draft gap. We saw a Riven fly in. Like, I'm a numbers guy. Riven has been picked 1.7% of the time this split. Very low win rate as well. But Mark,
yes,
you saw something else in draft, a new type of analysis.
Yeah, we're gonna do something a little different. I need everyone to join me over at the Telestrator. This is somewhat speculative.
Let's get the breakdown.
Yeah, this is very speculative, but I think you'll see where I'm coming from when we get into this. So this is actually the program feed from the draft.
This is what we saw.
Yep, and around the 4th pick, they're kind of debating what they want to do. There are a lot of supports banned out. And you're gonna see something from the coach right here that's very interesting. His eyebrows shoot up when they're trying to figure out what they should draft here. And normally when you're coaching, and Jet, you can maybe attest to this, you want your eyebrows kind of down. You want to be deep in thought. Eyebrows down is good because that's deep thought and you're really thinking hard. But when they go up, that's surprise.
That's like the flight of fight or flight.
This is, oh no. So, that's not what you want to see. Now, that might not be so bad on its own. But what follows it immediately is not any better because they're blocking in support. They're trying to figure out what they want. He's probably talking with Afro. He probably heard a weird suggestion. And then Afro shrugs and goes, I don't know, man. From what his lips, that's what I heard. And when your coach is surprised and your pro player is shrugging going, I don't know, man. I don't think that's a good draft.
You got anything else?
No, that's mostly it. Because then they take Rakan and they don't seem very happy about it. And then there's a draft gap according to Inspired. So
let's see. Tahm Kench is banned. Leon is banned. I don't think it's a terrible pick in isolation, but it did look like they couldn't do that much.
And I don't think it fit with what they were hoping to do in prep, because you should never be surprised like that if your prep went well.
As troll as it seems to like draw eyebrows, it
was amazing.
You remember Zix?
Yeah.
He told me he used to get like a little obsessive about things. He would literally watch champion celebs back of other teams and try and see how they were communicating with each other. So there is a small science to actually watching how a team reacts.
It's troll, but also not that troll because there's a human element to drafting. There's time pressure.
Yeah.
You're under the gun. What do we want to draft here? Does this make a lot of sense? There's some supports banned, and Afro's like, I don't know, Rakan. And then very quickly, things go south because of the bot lane.
Yeah, and I mean, this play here sets up Inspired, who absolutely took over this game.
Yep.
After Jose is set behind so early, it's really difficult for him to come back. I know we talked about earlier whether it was better for EG to be like more aggressive and proactive. One thing I really liked with this game as well is that Inspired was using his lead along with Vulcan to make plays with their lanes.
Yeah, and it ended up being a fairly stompy game.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was definitely partially, I think, because of that early jungle interaction that we saw Emily, but then like this fight, for instance, looked like a misstep from Vulcan, but as Elle pointed out on the cast, every single ultimate was burned by FlyQuest before they tried to make this turn, and it's just so sweet for, say, Danny Zaya to just be able to free hit in this corridor. Doesn't even need to burn ultimate and shreds through pretty much everyone on FlyQuest. And from this moment on, it was mostly a clean snowball for EG.
You gotta feel good for them too, because you heard also from the interview with Inspired, he was actually a little nervous about this game. He's like, regular season games, they don't matter a ton, but this is one that actually matters a lot for playoff standing, because now they have the opportunity to get that 4th seed, get above FlyQuest, and then get into the top half of the bracket. You get 2 lives then in playoffs.
You also heard him kind of re-hitting on that momentum point where it's like, okay, this is a game that they're, I guess, probably expected to win. And here's where you see where the game blows open around like just before 20 minutes and then again at the end.
3.8k damage Riven, probably not working. Good job Vulcan doing more.
That looks rough. I mean, we didn't even talk about top lane, but Impact was shoving the wave in consistently.
Yeah.
The Riven was not really able to do much at all in that matchup, so it was also just rough.
This moves both teams to 8-8. We can actually pull up the standings right now. The remaining games for Evil Geniuses are going to be Golden Guardians and CLG, and the remaining games for FlyQuest are going to be Immortals and C9. So plenty of leagues still to be played, but that, like, 4th to 7th, super tight.
Yeah, and for EG, they have 2 very winnable games following this up. FlyQuest's path is a little bit harder. They have to play Cloud9. So for EG, it's very possible that you go 3-0 this weekend. You finish with a lot of momentum. You finish higher up in the standings, and they feel pretty good heading into playoffs.
Yeah, another team that is right in that race is Dignitas QNTMPAY. They're up against Cloud9 next, and Biofrost shared some thoughts on his team's prospective opponents in Super Week.
Yeah, so last time in the Super Week, we also had C9, TL, and 100 Thieves, and they were at the time the top teams, basically. We managed to get a win against 100 Thieves, but we lost pretty handily against the top 2 teams, C9 and TL. So hopefully we can try to get at least one more win. I mean, we need to for playoffs to even have a chance. So yeah, it's very important.
Very, very important. They play the top 3. They have the hardest schedule of any team coming into Super Week. The combined win percentage of the teams they play is 73%. C9, TL, and 100 Thieves.
We've been running these all day, and it's usually like 50%-ish for most of them.
50.
Some are a little under, some a little over, and they're like, you are 23% over a 50-50 opponent. This is doom scenario. 1, 2, 3, straight down the list. 12-3, 11-4, 10-5 for opponents' win rate. So, like he's saying, you're looking at that going, we might go 0-3 and get knocked out of playoffs if we can't steal one here at least.
Yeah, and last time it was they stole the win from 100 Thieves, right? Because I think going into that match and based on the volatility of it, it could have gone either way multiple times throughout that game. So I don't know if the same thing's going to happen this week.
C9, for what it's worth, is also trying to lock down first place. They play Dig, 100 Thieves, and FlyQuest. They're only 1 game ahead of Team Liquid, 2 games ahead of 100 Thieves. So there's going to be a big thing there. Also want to point out, the last time these teams played, that was like the Summit Gap game. He was Gnar against FakeGod's Jace.
Aha.
So on the bad side of the matchup and got back-to-back solo kills against him. Definitely going to be looking to try and have a better performance if you're looking at Dignitas here. But Mark, you have a point about the solo lanes of Dignitas and what you think they need to do.
Yeah, I think we obviously talk a lot about River being hugely important for the team and the bot lane being a lot of the win con, but they need the solo laners to step up so the bot lane can then win. Because if you look at the stats for, say, Blue in wins versus losses, it's extremely different. Blue, when winning, is massively ahead in CS, or excuse me, extremely more ahead in CS than in his losses. And he's able to get some solo kills. He's making his own proactive plays against that Abadaga game, for example. He was able to find a lot of kills. For FakeGod, it's a little bit different, actually. It's not about winning lane, and I think that's where they went wrong last time they played against Cloud9, where they said, have a Jace pick, try and win lane. He doesn't really win lane in either of them, but it's about the amount of mistakes he makes. He doesn't get resources. We're not asking him to carry, but you need to be able to lose graciously or go even and not die as many times in these losses where you see almost double the amount of isolated deaths. Yeah,
by contrast, I know like when Blaber was talking about this, he was always like, you know, it's amazing to just look up in top lane and see, oh, Summit has already killed his lane opponent twice. Like, that's a lane I can easily either rely on and play elsewhere, or I can play around that and snowball it.
Yeah, and also the jungle matchup in this one. River versus Blaber, 2 very different styles of junglers that I know you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so River has actually made playoffs on every single one of his teams since LJL Challenger qualification when he failed to get in. And then these are 2 very different junglers as we compare champ pools here. We've already talked about River and their kind of J4 reliance. What that means is not that he can only play J4. If you've ever watched some of his champ Q highlights, if you've watched him throughout his career, he can play a lot of things. But in terms of facilitating lanes, I liked the Volibear pick for them as well, just because he was able to interact with his lanes a lot better. And then Blaber, he can be a carry jungler. I actually love him when he gets to interact early as well.
Yeah, I mean, Blaber, he's so good. I think people can lose perspective of that sometimes when he has bad scuttle crab engages at international events. But for the past, like, 2 years, he's been close to running NA or been, you know, right below the person who is running NA. So very hard to play against. And I think against River, like, River really needs to do well early. Otherwise, I think Blaber will be more efficient and end up taking over the game with his team. But that's it for us. Let's send it to the casters.
Thank you, Jack. I'm hanging out here with Kobe, ready to bring you the cast for this matchup, and should be a good one.
Yeah, it should be. Super week, baby. Cloud9 at the top of the standings, absolutely rocking the LCS. Let's see if they can keep their spot, because Team Liquid got their win, so contesting for #1 now.
Yeah, they want to hold on to that spot just to be able to show out and be very confident going into playoffs. Dignitas, on the other hand, with a lot more to prove. If they do manage to beat C9, they kick TSM and Immortals out of playoffs entirely and really increase the chances of them earning that spot.
True. So all of the Immortals and TSM fans are now Dignitas fans for this game. FakeGod there on screen. Definitely the Des touched on it a little bit, but he's got his hands full going against Summit. And this is definitely the most lopsided matchup that we have. Top lane, thankfully for Dignitas, for FakeGod, they do have red side, so they can save counter pick for him to try and handle Summit, but Summit has been massive for every single top laner. And if I don't see any Jace or Gnar bans to even whittle down on his champ pool at all, then it definitely looks pretty scary. So far, it's all jungle focus here. Volibear and Jarvan targeted at River. I think this is good strategy from Cloud9, targeting the big early game playmaker from Dignitas, who has been so integral in their success.
Yep, River and Blaber, a matchup that the desk was talking about, and I think there's good reason for a lot of people to have their eyes on there, specifically enabling the rest of the team. And for Dig, such a strength coming over from the bot lane as well. We'll see how they can hold it down with Berserker on the Zeri on the other side.
Zeri first pick, big surprise. This champ still.
What do you know?
98% presence on the patch, even with the changes. Remember, this champion can steal your shields. So if you see lots of these first pick Zeris coming through, as will probably be fairly common, then you might want to shy away a little bit from shielding champs. But we're going really quickly here with the jungle focus. No surprise that River snapped up the Lee Sin. This has also been one of his very strong early playmaking champions that he's had a lot of success with in Champions Queue. But Cloud9 hovering over the Renekton from Fudge, he tweeted out today that he was going to play like Perks. And he left it at that. You can interpret that tweet as you will, but then he hovers the Renekton, and you know what he meant.
He picked one of the mid laners with so many sides to their identity. You're like, all right, let's see what he ends up going for. In the end,
I like the
Gnar
shout out.
Yeah, I like it.
I like the shout out, and they do end up, because Gnar's not banned, no Jace, no Gnar, no Summit bans, they're saying, okay, we know you're going to save counter pick for FakeGod, so they're just going to grab the Gnar now before any more bans get thrown at Summit. Cloud9 actually just think that there's nothing that FakeGod really can substantially counter pick and have an impact on him with. And honestly, I wouldn't disagree. Summit has been a monster on this champion. He knows both sides. Generally, you know, people will try and play like Jace or something into it, but he has also stomped as the Gnar. So let's see what they then turn their sights towards. No jungle pickup for Blaber yet, but as you know, he has had one of the deepest champion pools over his career as well.
Yeah, able to facilitate, carry, whatever it may be for Cloud9, really in that spring Blaber form as we have seen of late. And for Dignitas, picking up that Tahm Kench, making sure you keep those hyper carries nice and protected when offsetting the power that C9 have at their disposal. Final bans coming through, still on that jungle front because we're waiting on what Blaber wants to bring through. No Ahri as well in this case for Blue, and we'll see what C9 decide to lock up for the final ban.
Yeah, and I want to get in on this because it is a blind pick Gnar from Cloud9 for Summit, and they don't even throw protection bans towards him. They're like, you know what? Go ahead. You want to pick Aurelia? You want to pick Jace into it? You want to try and kill Summit? Good luck. He doesn't need any protection bans, and they just target mid lane instead with the Ahri Twisted Fate to try and keep other people out of his lane. Twisted Fate and Ahri, both pretty strong roaming champions. Obviously, the Twisted Fate, the best of them, but taking away some of that flexibility from Blue. So I kind of expect Blue and Dignitas to go with more standard control mage for mid lane, and they're going to save his counter pick for last since they know they're going into the Gnar, but we do get the Kennen into it, which was one of the old counter picks as well. I want to see if FakeGod can actually make them pay.
And everyone has to worry about the Gnar for Summit. This is a pick that he made a name on even prior coming to the LCS with his time on Sandbox, having such prominent performances. C9 with the final lock-ins on their side elect to go for the LeBlanc into the mid lane matchup and locking in the final jungler here. It's Viego for Blaber.
Definitely one of the pentakill type of champions here. We'll see what Blaber can get done, but Viego plus LeBlanc, that is scary no matter what you lock in for Blue. So he's trying to think of safety right now. He sees LeBlanc, Viego, aggressive mid jungle from Cloud9, and he's already thinking, let me get some safety, please. You know, Lissandra ult would go a long way, but in the end, it is the consistent pick that we've seen from him. Most picked champion is the Viktor, that reliable mid lane AP scaling for Dignitas. They've got the Viktor, they've got the Jinx, the two kind of most reliable carries that we have seen from mid and bottom throughout the last, giant change in the meta. I think the big flex point is going to be, how does this Kennen do on the top side into Summit's Gnar? And River is on a playmaking champion here, so definitely looking at his early path, if he can try and upset Blaber, if he can try and upset some of these solo lane matchups.
An interesting take from Dignitas in this draft against Cloud9. We'll see if they can hold it down in their fight for their playoff lives.
She got robbed!
Taking more time to find them!
And this is before we even take. Yes! Let's go! We're one cut down and you want to FF?
The degeneracy of Mr. Dash.
More beer pong next week after LCS on Sundays, so we'll see you then, everyone. All right, Kobe, we know the comps. We know what is taking to the Rift. What do you make of the strengths that both of these teams have brought forward for their matchup?
I mean, again, as I was talking about in Champ Select, the mid jungle here is looking very, very scary for Cloud9. LeBlanc plus Viego. See what Fudge and Blaber can get done, because the LeBlanc trading into the Viktor, if you just trade farm, then it is going to be a net loss for the team. Viktor scales so well, so I want to see how aggressive Fudge can play this matchup and how Blaber tries to work around him. Meanwhile, for Dig, River has been basically the measure for success for this team. He's done so much work in so many of the matches early on, and they're going to get an early lead on that mid lane matchup. Every little chunk of health counts, but this one is well before 50 seconds. Usually, if you can't stop the backs and they get to recall before like 55 seconds, then they can just get a full recall off back to the fountain, heal up, and walk right back out to mid lane. So no health mark is going to be left here.
Some contention from the tweets we are seeing from the players about the way that their scrims are going into this week, but I'm sure coming through with full power here.
Smiley face.
Yeah, we like smileys. In the end, though, Fudge able to make it right back to lane. When Dignitas went into the jungle, they did drop that ward for some extra vision.
Plus, I brought up that, coming into today, Fudge tweeted out he was going to have a perks-like performance. He then went on to hover the Renekton, but actually picked the LeBlanc, which is a champion that Perks actually dominated in the LCS with, getting solo kills on many mid laners. So let's see if he can actually stay true to his word here on it.
And so much of the conversation has been around that top side with Summit, right? Where Fudge has been making his gradual improvements in the mid lane, really steadily holding it down. So potentially we'll get that pop-off opportunity for him to really throw himself into that top echelon in this matchup. Important note too, vision acquired over on that top side in favor of Cloud9, grabbing that intel of where River might be bringing his power first.
And technically, Dignitas get their counter picks in both of the solo lanes, so we'll see if that bleeds over to the other side of the map. Already, though, you see Blaber moving up into the top side of this mid lane matchup, so he's going to come from behind blue.
The Ruba down bot. We got Biofrost having to flash away. Ignite utilized as well, but Blaber securing it here on the top side with that first blood. Biofrost, one more hit will do it. Berserker gets the kill. 2 on the board for Cloud9 so far. What a start for them here against Dignitas.
Yeah, we could see on the minimap Blaber going up after his red side clear, up behind. Level 2, behind this Viktor for the kill. And he's waiting there, open arms for Blue after he's trading. Blue thought he was just winning this trade so hard, pushing up on the LeBlanc, just blasting Fudge, and yet Blaber comes for the level 2 Viego. Gank around back. I had to emphasize that so much because that is so unexpected. Viego waiting until level 2 and wrapping around from the opposite side as well of red side, going all the way around this way. Excuse me, mouse got a little crazy there, but that is why we had a magnifying glass on this mid jungle 2v2, and Blaber wastes no time jumping right in there to take advantage of blue while he's pushing so heavily up. And we are going to get a replay, but we saw most of it before the camera went down to the bottom side. But Fudge trading here, very effectively. And then he knows, I've already killed you because Blaber's positioned right behind you. There's no way out. So he slips right in. And that's only after red Raptors and wrapping all the way around. So well done by Blaber to cut off his jungle farming and his path to get that very important mid 2v2 advantage for them. And here is the look at the full bottom lane play as we were kind of split between the two previously. And good job there by Berserker flashing forward to make sure that they can finish off the kill onto Biofrost on that Tahm Kench, who has been such a playmaker for Dignitas.
Full stroll in the park from Blaber to make that final mark. Nice 2v2 down bot to punish the aggression from Biofrost. That means that teleport was used by Blue previously to get back into lane and recently for Fudge as well. But only 30 seconds on the clock before this next Drake spawns up.
And there's that tweet chain I was referring to between Fudge and Perks. So Blaber doing his best as well to help him out in those endeavors. Blue did not use his flash, though, in any attempt to escape that gank, so won't be in too much danger for the follow-up one. Still has some modicum of safety to rely on, but no vision currently around that mid lane either. And bottom lane is pushing up, so is going to allow them to get a little bit of deep wards themselves.
Yeah, a control dropped down previously from the Dignitas side, and now River on the retreat to get the continuation of his clear over here down bot. But Berserker and Winsome doing a good job of holding it down just to get that proactivity ahead of the next objective for whenever that skirmish may arise.
All right, what is River's response going to be? Because this was kind of our highlight was, okay, what can the junglers do in the early game to try and set these up? And Blaber struck first with the level 2 wraparound, but River trying to hover around. It's mostly sort of a counter here because Viktor doesn't have setup, especially on LeBlanc. You can try and force out a W or something with your gravity field, but fairly difficult to be the one initiating. And it's mostly an effort to counter Cloud9 moves.
River has been very much a fan of the proactive plays. Some action here on the top side, though. FakeGod throwing it down and ultimately sidestepping the good old boulder toss here from Summit. But Blaber right here in try, not warded. There is a ward over in the area where he's at now, though.
Yeah, Blaber was leading from mid lane, but they had vision of him. River was right behind him following, so both parties know that the junglers are on the way up, and both parties know that Blaber gets there first, so it's just a disengage there. Decent trade from Summit with the ultimate trades. Kennen without ultimate does not pose a threat. Meanwhile, Gnar can get the Gnar Rage Bar and ultimate up way quicker, so it is a decently good trade for him.
River's looking for that play over on the top side. There is a C9 ward there too, so he will be sought off, gets a chance for a reset on the top side, with Summit using the teleport to get back in, and FakeGod making his back as well to come back with a little more spice. But down here bot in the 2v2, you notice that Blaber is in the vicinity getting this Scuttle Crab as well for the potential setup.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon is going to be pretty high on the list here for Cloud9 since they do have threat on mid lane and constant shoving on the bottom lane. Berserker and Winsome constantly pushing in, rotating over for vision, pushing in, rotating over to support jungle here, allowing deeper vision and counter jungling to take place. So we'll see about the setup here for Dragon because Cloud9 also have very good turn off of objectives. Whenever you're setting up on those neutrals, trying to evaluate the threat that your team has, when you've got Nautilus and LeBlanc threatening turning around and picking anyone off from Dig if they try and approach, if they try and contest you, then it becomes extremely dangerous. So you just have to go for a reset on your bottom lane first, as they have now. Berserker gets to purchase all his little pieces of Trinity Force before getting right back out there, and then just one more shove into a rotation over.
And in those efforts from the Cloud9 bot lane to continually apply that vision down around Dragon, not sacrificing any of the farm along the way, still have that kill in the pocket prior as well. So a little more beef here when they went for that initial back to get this buy. And Biofrost going for his roams too, they had backed recently, so it gives him that opportunity to stretch across and try and set up.
Also like how Winsome, you can see on the minimap, you went with the roam towards mid first. We talk a lot about unlocking lanes, and that can be the jungler or the support. So as Nautilus, he walks in, he helps Fudge clear that lane out, LeBlanc, not the best at blowing up the lanes. We'll have to use everything on it. So they try and shove out mid first and then rotate over to the top side of the map. And you can see here, just a complete sweep thus far of Cloud9 on the FTX Gold advantage. Every single member ahead of their counterpart. Oh, Winsome, the support drops down below. 2 gold.
How dare you, Winsome, drop from the rest. But in the end, though, whether it be the gold leaves that they're effectively getting or even looking at their vision setup, Dignitas haven't had a chance to set around, and that allows Cloud9 to set up for this top play. FakeGod does see it coming, so uses the Speed Boy play to get away, flashes, but it's not enough. Even throws down the Slicing Maelstrom just to make sure that Fudge doesn't go in, but he does with the distortion, takes a couple tower shots, and it's not enough to take him down, so single kill in favor of Cloud9 and some turret plates to boot.
Yeah, and what you have to be worried about is possible counterplays, but this is what mid lane prow gets you. It gets you the first move. So Cloud9 going top, and you look, yes, Dignitas got the bottom dragon, and they've got 3 members on bottom side, but it's already been a wave shoved out. So there is very little response in the wave from Dig available. And it's all because of the chain of events that we're tracking from mid lane. Winsome recalls, goes mid to push out for Fudge, and then he can overload on top side. While the Rift Herald's getting picked up, he also goes for the dive. They get the flash out of FakeGod, and it didn't even break the chain link, so he still got rooted in. As soon as you see that, you know he is dead. Fudge goes for it, trades a flash as well. And this is, it's been fairly trivial, actually, for Cloud9 to play out the early stages here with the domination that they had early. And again, that was kind of the flex point in this game where we're wondering, ooh, are Dignitas going to be able to upset this? But establishing multiple members from Cloud9 going for mid lane control. First Blaber with the level 2 gank, then Winsome with the roam off mid. It has played very, very nicely into this early plan where you get a good early lead. This is a very, very healthy early game lead. And just trade for 1 dragon, 3.8 thousand gold.
A big one right here past that 10-minute mark. A combination of that control within the lanes, also dropping down that Herald for the continued advantage, making it that much more difficult for FakeGod to play up here and just having to safely sit back to accumulate as much farm as he possibly can to be a greater effect in the team fighting later on. Because as you mentioned, they did index into that scaling, having a pick like Viktor that can be a threat later on if Dignitas can manage to get there. And here with the river play is where they tried to get it going. Abyssal dive for the double knockup. 2 members of Cloud9 exhaust directly onto Blaber, who uses the Heartbreaker to get away, but he is very low, so 1 more slice from Blue will get it, and the kill for favor of Dignitas.
That's a very important pick for Dignitas for morale, but they aren't going to get any objectives off of it. It's literally just going to sit at the gold acquired from killing the Viego here, so it is flashes traded, and yes, you got Blaber and you got a pick for yourselves. Well done utilizing the vision control, but it actually doesn't move the needle on the game state a tremendous amount. So let's see what they can do afterwards, because as of right now, Summit constantly pushing on top side. Even he doesn't have to stop with his top side push and gets to fight over some of the mini krugs here, stealing away from River. So well done to Dig to get this pick onto Blaber, but it's really going to be about the next step in their comeback.
And even with knowing River up on that top side, yeah, no sweat onto the brow of Summit. Gives some agency to Cloud9 to clear out here on bottom. Still about 1 minute and 45 seconds until that next dragon spawns. But Cloud9 are much more comfortable sitting pretty and seeing what happens from there.
Yeah, we shall see. I mean, River does still have Flash on Lee Sin, so when he gets his kick back again, he will be able to pull off a more exciting play. Last one, all that was required was the ward hop. Summit here just continues to push in on top side, and with the whole breaker.
Oh, flashes for it, throws him into the wall, even drags an ultimate out of it. Summit slamming hard.
This is why we agree with Cloud9. Being able to blind pick the Gnar in first 3 rotation here. Summit, will he even get chased down by Blue? Doesn't look like it. There's no flash on Viktor, so no surprise plays there, and it's another clean solo from Summit. Charges up the rage bar. FakeGod here, 50% HP. No flash on the Kennen, and in comes Summit. He headbutts the turret, and then FakeGod getting hit by that Q is a death sentence. With just that slow, Summit knows, I've got flash advantage on this guy. So he doesn't hesitate to use it.
Oh, Summit so good at knowing where the openings are. Just saying bye-bye to the turret to get that solo kill onto FakeGod. Try to dismember his mental that much more.
That's graphic, I agree. But that is graphic. And Summit has done that to so many top laners this year, you know, in the LCS thus far. And I mean, that's also, it's just such a huge advantage. When you have full hull breaker done, that allows you to shrug off this tower damage. You see him taking multiple tower shots, doesn't care. He's got hull breaker up there by himself. He's isolated. And when you go into mega form, you're melee. So still counts there for Gnar, so is very effective. And FakeGod is sitting still on pieces here as the Kennen. So, and you mentioned earlier, can he come and have a big impact on the team fight? Well, he doesn't even have his proto belt done yet. So it's just Sork shoes and some pieces of AP. There's no place really for Dig to even contest this dragon fight. So they're gonna give that one up and hope that they can have a better chance later. Maybe when you get your proto belt done and some, you know, extra oomph behind that Kennen team fight, then you can pull off like a flash Kennen play with a Flashly Sin pick or something. But it really does seem difficult for Dig to even set that situation up on the map, since Summit will always be constantly pushing in with this hull breaker on Gnar.
Hextech Soul on the horizon. Dignitas did grab that first Drake, so no stacking on either side quite yet. This time,
let's
River, and not over in the Krugs pit, but rather using Blast Cone, closes the distance a little bit. Q doesn't connect though, so Dignitas have to back off of that one.
No action. As soon as you miss the Q, they're just like, all right, fine, we can't overchase. No, nothing exciting is going to happen here. Cloud9 will continue to take what they please. Dig coming over. 5 members of Dig. Are they going to commit to this?
See if they want to throw it down. River goes in. And in the end, Blaber picks it up, though. So Cloud9 winning on that objective. But Dignitas don't lose anything in that process, at least. Summit again facing off against FakeGod. Slicing Maelstrom thrown down. A few more autos should do it. One after the flash. And Summit on fire.
These are the most unfortunate flashes. An auto is already in the air there, and it was the hyper proc auto. So Summit gets the kill anyway. And I mean, we talked about last time the replay. He knew he had flash advantage, so he's going for the kill. Those flash advantages, he's not going to let you get away with that. You know, that thing is in the timer now, and guess what? As soon as his comes up, he's going for the kill again. And as far as what they lost for doing that play as well, look at this bottom tower. It was a 4v5 up there, and Cloud9 still got the smite. All of that damage, the weakening of that tower, was from Fudge split pushing, and it also drew out the teleport from blue. So Dig are basically bleeding resources all over this map. You know, summoner spell after summoner spell, damage on turrets, and Cloud9 just continuing to rack up advantages until we get to this big breaking point. When are Dig gonna throw their chips all in, try and make a big comeback 5-person play, and look at some of these objective bounties? Because that is really the only hope that they have left in this game, is trying to make a big play with multiple members, at least 4, I would say, to then push hard and try and at least trade back maybe some of these objective bounty gold bonuses will be able to help them out.
The bounty for Summit starting to grow that much more as well. So multiple opportunities to pick up some gold for the side of Dignitas. Blue has been farming all the while with the mythic completed for both the mid laners.
I propose, because we have had plenty of data on Summit and Cloud9's success, I propose for the LCS, Summit enters the game with a bounty on his head. because
is that
because
like
Summit,
the ankle weights?
Yeah, he has entered so many of these games with advantages for being Summit. So honestly, I think it might be fair. It's not going to be a big bounty, you know, a little bounty, but
yeah. Throw him in the gravity chamber, never let him leave. That's just how he has to play every game.
If really they're all about comeback mechanics, then honestly, shouldn't every team get some sort of comeback mechanic against Summit? It's only fair.
Proposing the real questions here, Kobe. Changing the game state. C9 really do make it feel like you need to offer those kind of odds sometimes when facing against them, because here at the 18-minute mark, we have a 6,000K goal, or 6,000 gold lead rather. K on 1,000 would be a lot, but it feels like that for sure.
Yeah, honestly, let's see. All right, where's the path to victory here from Dignitas? Observers, if we could get a toggle to Dignitas vision now, because we would like to play League of Legends hard mode. All right, it's nice and dark now. The fog of war is very dangerous. And you see they're trying to creep out, placing wards in each brush through their own jungle so that at least maybe River could farm some camps, and everybody kind of waiting their turn to go farm a lane, grouping up with Tahm Kench near him so Neo can try and quickly clear this wave before any Cloud9 members show, and then retreat to the safety of their control wards. It really is a lot about that vision, though. And thank you for that vision toggle, observers, because in order to get that comeback play, that very rare comeback play that we hypothesize for Dig, it does have to surprise Cloud9. And there are very little areas on the map currently where you can do that.
So props to all the Dig members for not just throwing down the controls, but making sure to keep many in their inventory as well. Throw them down as soon as they get cleared. All the while, though, Summit shifting his location down towards the bot lane, continuing to push that through. The side lanes have been strong for Cloud9 in this game.
Yes, sir. 2 core items for Summit. At least we finally got the Proto Belt finish for Kennen, but Trinity Force on top of the Hullbreaker, this is a monster Gnar. Does so much damage and is so tanky because of the passive from Hullbreaker. So another dragon picked up there for Cloud9. No use contesting number 2 here for Dig. You know, Cloud9 getting to 2 dragons has no difference really to them. Between 2 and 3, they'll start to sweat a little bit, and then when the stakes get really high heading towards that soul point, then your risk adversity really has to drop, and you just kind of have to take even low percentage plays for your team to try and find some way to come back into it. Sometimes you have to commit to these situations that look very dire. Jinx we're also going to be tracking because, again, the Jinx Viktor are the scaling aspects of this Dig composition that they do have. Maybe if you can get, you know, another item there onto Neo and something together here for Blue, you can start really threatening the DPS to pick up some of these kills, maybe on the frontliners that are a bit more squishy, like Blaber or maybe Winsome.
Past that 20-minute mark, so eventually team fighting becoming that much more of a possibility with Baron on the table, as well as the later dragons that will be spawning. A lot of this time has been spent by Dignitas just keeping to their side, safely waiting for that opportunity to make a play against Cloud9, recognizing, though, the strength that they have built throughout this game. Mythics for everyone except for the supports.
Okay, so this is a pretty nice little retake here from Dig, where they've been able to clean out the Cloud9 vision leading up to the Baron. They're already starting to sweat because Cloud9, with the advantage they do have, and you can see 2 items already completed on Blaber as well, Viego here. So there is real Baron threat. Even though we're only 21.5 minutes into the game, Cloud9 already making Dignitas expend a lot of resources here to try and keep track of Baron. It's one of the only ways that they can come back as well. If Cloud9 start up Baron and they fumble it, they make mistakes here, they don't keep River out of the Baron pit, you know, maybe there's some sort of smite steal action that Dig can actually cash in on. Because with the introduction of those objective bounties, it actually further cemented the power of objective steals late into the game. Because not only would you steal away the Baron and deny Cloud9 Baron pushing power, which they can end the game with, but you get a big cash in. It's 500 gold base plus increased by a factor of how far you are behind in the game if you can steal away that big objective. So it gives hope to the hopeless, basically.
And we were looking at River for what he can do in the early game, but you're also looking at him on the Lee Sin to pull off those rock star plays that he has had in the past, and maybe potentially turn the tide. Because again, the vision just keeps going back and forth.
And it also further cements kind of discipline in teams that get early leads like this. For Cloud9, you do not want to ever find yourself in a situation where you're giving the chance at flipping that objective over to Dignitas. So we will see Cloud9 invest very heavy vision resources and, you know, like Winsome running right at him, Summit running right at him, him being River in this case, to keep him out of the objective and denying any possible way of that flip, of that comeback to Dig, because they have such a stranglehold on the game that there's no reason for them to get into a risky scenario like that. Just continue to split push here. You've got LeBlanc topside, Summit on the bottom side on the Gnar. Unleashed teleports are ready for them. Push in both sides. Make Dignitas start to slowly bleed out more and more power. And then you can rotate over and force on the objective.
And that stronghold that Cloud9 have been accumulating on this game is Summit.
Or
going
go for
it
solo.
again on to FakeGod. He wants to make a statement here. He wants to take him down again. Teleport coming on the opposite side into stasis. FakeGod goes, flashes away, throws down more damage. But the follow-up from Summit. Now his eyes are on blue. Crashes him into the wall, but Biofrost has made his rotation on over. The exhaust thrown down. Gobble him up with the Devour. Biofrost keeps blue safe. Can they lock him? Can they punish him? But a good old hop away.
Oh,
Boulder does not hit, but one more hit of the Tongue Lash. The Death Ray on the side. Blue gets it, takes down the Yordle.
All right, you got to keep River out. Cloud9, your main duty is to keep River out, and they do it.
Oh, go away, River. A little HP to your name. Cloud9 now have control over the Baron, and with 7,000 gold into their team pocket, it now turns to 8.4 and the continuation of their lead.
I like this strategy. Just wait until they try and send multiple resources at Summit. Dare them. Summit, send them all into the Summit Gladiator pit. And he almost came out with the kill there. If that other Q had hit, he probably would have been able to kill Blue. I don't know, Blue has flash though, so maybe he reacts to that with the flash. Regardless, because you draw 3 players over to deal with Summit and he still kills FakeGod, it allows Cloud9 that Baron setup. And then, as we said, the only duty for all of the rest of the Cloud9 members is keeping River out of the pit. They do that. Immediately you see Fudge over the back of the wall, Winsome running at him as well. Everybody knows, just keep the Lee Sin back, we get the Baron, and with that pushing power, we can look for the end.
If they take the tier 2 in mid, they take Drake to put them on Soul Point. Cloud9 making sure that their advantages never go awry facing off against Dignitas. Yeah, you called it, River, a threat, and they made sure to keep him out.
Yeah, multiple jungle bans, invested decently early on. As well, though, I just want to commend, because in games like this, we're going to look back at the very opening of the game, because that's where it was closest. Since then, Cloud9 have steadily increased their lead. I really did want to give credit to Blaber, though, because it is so rare in pro play for junglers to inhibit their farm. And he only did 2 camps, level 2 Viego, wraps all the way around the Viktor to get that first kill and start this chain of events. And then still is able to get back to his blue side and finish up his clear. So those sorts of unexpected timings can really have ripple effects and big benefits. But as well, Winsome, who doesn't get a lot of credit on Cloud9 because there are so many other star players. Really good positioning from him and roam timers as well to set up for Cloud9. And as we speak about the beginning of the game, the end of the game is near. They've finished up on the bottom inhibitor, Gabby, and they are looking for the other 2 inhibitor turrets.
Setting up to break into the base. They send Summit to clear up that wave up top, which calls the attention of Blue, but Dignitas are split across with the power that C9 are bringing towards them. Another inhibitor turret has been taken down. Blaber, nice discovered territory, but the route directly onto that Tahm. Kench, Biofrost has to exit it, and the zip around FakeGod throwing down his ultimate once more, but no lives lost except for Winsome on this one, so they do manage to eliminate the support of Cloud9 off of this push where they got a lot of objective control.
Yeah, they certainly did. 2 inhibitors down for Cloud9. They could go for the recalls. Fudge gets it with a Q, though. River, what can he get done? Keep up the chase.
Through the Hex gates, some assistance comes from FakeGod, Biofrost as well, but Fudge has a little bit of a portal passageway that he can use too, so slides right on by.
Yeah, the little bit of excitement occurs when, you know, there's a straggler lying around in Dignitas territory. Maybe they can get something else back, but just the 1 kill inside of the base, and Cloud9, they laid devastation there. So very easy path now. It's just the top side inhibitor left standing. And all you have to do is go into a 4-1 split push. You could go 1-3-1 with sending Fudge mid and having everybody else top and keep Summit bottom, but honestly, there's no reason to do it because you already have super minions in that lane as well. And they can very, very safely just wait and usher all these extra super minions in while the rest of Cloud9 stand outside the top inhibitor door and just go knocking. Ooh, I like that ward, though. There's a possibility of the flank ward. Remember that deep ward in the lane. Maybe Dig can throw their hopes there. There is an unleashed teleport on FakeGod. His flash is coming up shortly. Maybe they can buy enough time. Cloud9 are already pushing the super minions in, so it'll be close if FakeGod can get his flash in time.
Cloud9 are hoping that these waves come up and they can break down that top inhibitor turret and inhibitor as well. The advantage that you get when all three are down, the extra spawning of the supers could be a nice way to end it. But Fudge pushing on forward with the rest of Cloud9 because there's heavy damage onto the Nexus turrets already from prior, and Dignitas scrambling here to protect their base against the onslaught that's coming through. You see that wave on the bot side coming for that assistance as well.
Yep. All right, let's see it. Fudge, annoying poke comes through from LeBlanc. There is mini Gnar now for Summit, so maybe there's a window here. Dig, you gotta go.
Splitting across though, Summit just taking his eyes onto that Nexus turret. He can eliminate it, which calls the attention. FakeGod coming on through with the Proto Belt, but Summit now has the assistance of the rest of the team. Fudge with the extra damage. Another stopwatch here after the Zonius was previously built for this Kennen. But Cloud9, they don't care. They just want to get him in a place where he cannot contend their push. They take it onto the second turret, isolate a single River who has to use a stopwatch that was in his inventory. They take down Summit. There's 2 eliminated for Cloud9, but multiple on Dignitas that are way too low to keep from this slow push forward from Cloud9. Blaber setting off here. He even goes and takes the last hits for the Bud Light Ace. Triple kill for Berserker on this. All that standing is a Nexus, but they want to surround it with the full effect of their minions. Cloud9 standing strong as a top team.
Yeah, you could definitely say that because Cloud9 won every single lane, including jungle, in this game. And that is a wrap. 13-3, retaining their #1 ranking in the LCS. All alone at the top.
Clean, 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 looking mean. Cloud9, a lot of things to say about each of the members. I mean, going back to that Blaber play early, and you're outlining what it meant for him to be able to make that play. But I love that risk that you see, that, if it goes wrong can sometimes, be criticized, but when it goes right, that's what we love about Blaber on Cloud9.
Yeah, level 2 ganks are very rare, and even more rare when you're not on a champion like Jarvan or something like that. So always nice to mix up the timings, keep your opponents on their toes, but from there as well, smooth sailing. Like I said, all lanes taking care of their own business as well makes it a pretty easy job, and that's what you're gonna get from the best team in the LCS.
Yeah, just watching Summit in that top lane, right? It just feels like you could watch it the entire time and it feels good. That's why he ended up being the player of the game for this one, always trying to push the limit.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically every trade that we saw was a Summit victory in the trades up there. Bottom side, though, as well, I mean, Berserker and Winsome getting their own 2v2 kill down there as well, constantly pushing in their opponents, being able to get deep vision, set up for these objectives. Like I said, it was every single lane that was dominating. It was not just Summit.
Cloud9 feeling pretty fine. It is time for us to step away, though. But when we return, Hai is talking pro to pro with Biofrost, and the desk is getting us ready for a must-win match for both Immortals and CLG. Catch you there. The Rupa down bot. We got Biofrost having to flash away. Ignite utilized as well, but Blaber securing it here on the top side with that first blood. Biofrost, one more hit will do it. Berserker gets the kill. 2 on the board for Cloud9. Exhaust directly onto Blaber, who uses the Heartbreaker to get away, but he is very low, so one more slice from Blue will get it.
Summit here just continues to push in on top side, and with the Heartbreaker.
Flashes for it, throws him into the wall. Even